We're back, folks. Welcome, everyone. It's now time for case 24 in the Eastern District. Scarab to death. We're running a little bit behind because I was supposed to start this last night, but I keep forgetting. Matthew, we come to Washington, D.C. to find a magic magnifying glass called the Eye of Sparran. We need the Eye of Sparran to decipher the inscription on the ring that the demon Rothimiel, otherwise known as the Pilgrim, made. It would be a shame if this mission was in vain. You know, since Hope may have left the team forever after your fight about that ring. Well, she shouldn't have taken it. She was acting like a spoiled brat when the fate of our world could be at stake. The demons have 4 of the 5 keys they need to release the evil demon queen. Deciphering the inscription on the ring could lead us to the final key. We need to get it before the demons do, otherwise they will be able to free their queen. True, if she breaks free, the veil between the netherworld and our world will be destroyed. Demons will take over. We can't let that happen. Exactly. That's why we've come to the Smithsonian. We have reason to believe that the Eye of Sparran is here. Oh my goodness, it's awful. He's dead. Who's dead? What's going on? A student working at a Native American archaeological dig outside the museum. Ma'am, we're research consultants for the FBI. We'd be happy to help. Luke, you and Matthew go to that dig site and see what's going on. Still don't see the... Oh, there we go. Trowel. Whoa, Matthew, look at this poor guy. His left arm looks totally fried. Almost like he was electrocuted or something. You're right. He's holding something in his left hand. Looks like it's from ancient Egypt. Like one of those beetles holding the sun. So what's part of an ancient Egyptian artifact doing at a Native American excavation site? It seems unlikely that the victim found it here by chance. If this Scarab amulet killed him, this is murder, but only Ben can say for sure. The victim's name is Dan Quang, according to the name tag. He was a student at Highsmith University in Pennsylvania. Did you find anything else? It's true that calla lily is out of place here. Those flowers are usually only seen at funerals, so it's likely that the killer left it. Let's get a sample of the substance on its petals. And I wonder if that faded folder might provide us with some information about this Dan Quang and what he was working on when he was killed. Well, it looks like the Eye of Sparran will have to wait while we deal with this mysterious murder. I'm going to speed up the autopsy, but I'm going to do that a little later. So I got to get started. Sit tight, everybody. Okay, I got 7 stars, so I'm going to check out the lily first. Oh boy, I gotta go through everything. You collected a sample of that liquid from the calla lily, Matthew. Let's get it to Priya. Now the faded folder. Teresa Rosenthal, his thesis advisor. So, Matthew, this folder you found confirms that Dan Quang was assigned to this excavation site. But it also tells us that his thesis advisor was Teresa Rosenthal. Didn't we meet her in Pennsylvania? She's an archaeology professor and was a suspect in the murder of a student there. Let's go tell Miss Rosenthal about Dan Quang, Matthew. She has one less thesis to advise now. Miss Rosenthal, I'm afraid we have some bad news. We have reason to believe that your student Dan Quang was murdered here. Murdered? But how? Why? I'm afraid we can't say much more for now, but what do you know about ancient Egyptian artifacts? Well, it's not my area of expertise. I focus more on Native American archaeology. That's what this excavation is all about. So if this is a Native American excavation site, why did Quang have an ancient Egyptian scarab amulet on his person when he died? No idea, but he may have found it in the museum's storage facility. Dan spent a lot of time there. Thank you for your time, Miss Rosenthal. We'll have a look at the museum's storage facility. I see him. Oh no, Matthew. There's an open sarcophagus in the storage room. I hope there isn't a mummy on the loose. But seriously, this museum does have a lot of Egyptian antiquities. I mean, look at this fancy box. It looks super old and Egyptian. We should open it and see if we can find a clue. But this other thing is a lock-picking set. Maybe we interrupted someone's break-in. The insignia on the kit can probably tell who it was. We'll need to run this image through the database. Call it a hunch, but I think we might be on our way to catching Quang's killer. I'm gonna have to quit this for now because I know I'm not gonna be able to get both of these done in the allotted time I have left, just a little under 30 seconds. So I'm gonna have all stars collected. So sit tight, everybody. Okay, now I got a fresh 10 minutes. Let's take a look at the Egyptian box right now. I got all stars, so now I can wait a little bit. Oh. Seven, six, six, seven, seven. What? 75577. Okay, there we go. You got that fancy Egyptian box open, Matthew. Care to have a rummage through the contents? Moment, folks, I got a bathroom emergency. Okay. Now the Egyptian items. I think a little later today is when I'll, maybe after... Thanks for lunch, Cleo. Let's keep talking Egyptology. Danny Q. Well, Matthew, it's true that note doesn't exactly fit the other items in this box. For one, it's not in hieroglyphics. It reads, thanks for lunch, Cleo. Let's keep talking Egyptology. And it's signed Danny Q. So the victim went to lunch with this Cleo person. I'll check my phone to see if she's listed as museum staff. Looks like Cleo Sinclair is a curator here, Matthew. And it just so happens she's the lady who alerted us to the murder. Funny, if she bought him lunch, why didn't she tell us his name when she told us she'd found his body? We'd better go have a chat with Miss Sinclair. No relation to Upton Sinclair, author of The Jungle. I'll make some edits if needed. Oh good, it's you, agents. Have you found the killer? Not yet, Miss Sinclair. We found a note you received from the victim. Did you know him well? I'm not sure what you're suggesting. Daniel and I would go get lunch sometimes, or drinks after work. He was really fun to talk with, and we were into a lot of the same things. He has so many questions about Egyptology. For a young guy, he had a lot of knowledge, but was always looking to learn more. I just can't imagine why anyone would want to kill him. Got the 9. Falcon? That lockpicking set belongs to a man well known to our team. Hey, is Falcon in DC? That insignia is his brand, how he claims a hunt. Whoa, Chief, you know that at a glance? I ought to. When he was mentoring me, I designed it for him. So what's my old teacher got to do with this investigation? We found these tools of his in the museum's storage facility. That can't be good, but knowing Falcon, he'll be back there looking for them. Go have a chat with him and see if he knew Quang. Well, I'll be, if it isn't Jacob Arrow's most recent stray puppy. What brings you to DC, Matthew? Funny, we want to ask you the same thing, Falcon. I'm doing personal research. Research that requires a lock-picking set? Whatever, no need to answer that. In your personal research, have you ever bumped into Dan Quang? And who might that be? A Highsmith University student. He was also doing research in this very storage facility, and he was murdered today. Why would I have anything to do with some college kid? Unless he was being haunted or got bitten by a werewolf, I wouldn't know him. Now get lost. Let me get back to my research. And I'll see you guys when at least the brown substance has run its course. So for now, this is Matthew. Catch you later. Well, I did say I'd speed it up, but I instead let both things run their courses. Let's get the results from Priya first. Did you know, Matthew, that white calla lilies symbolize purity, innocence, and resurrection? Well, we do now. What does that have to do with the sample we collected from the flower? It helps confirm that the killer left the flower on the scene and that they are experiencing some remorse. Hold on. There we go. I bet they are.
Turn the music off.
Sorry guys, I had to stop right there because I had my conference going, so I had to pause. I bet they are, but what was that substance? It was a tangy, bitter, hops-heavy India Pale Ale, or IPA. Xander really loves IPAs. Seems like Xander loves a lot of things, including you. How is your smoochy coochie man anyway? He's fine, but back to business. IPAs are really popular these days, even among killers it seems. Or IPA. So the killer chugged an IPA, or IPA, after killing some hapless college kid. I guess they had to calm their nerves. I'm gonna make a couple edits to that. So... But my teleconference is done. I can do this right now. So, here we go. And now the results of the autopsy. Hello, Matthew. After seeing the victim, I double-checked for power surges in the area, and there weren't any. Combine that with the lack of burn marks and other generalized electrocution phenomena, and I have to agree with your assessment. The Scarab amulet Dan Quang held in his hand is what killed him. The tissue necrosis started in the hand and spread up his left arm until it reached his heart and stopped it from beating. So it was the Scarab amulet that managed to do all that. Appears to be. That said, I couldn't find any sign of it being rigged or poisoned. But I only have the top half of the Scarab, so as soon as you can find the bottom half, we can find out more. And speaking of finding out more, I also found traces of valerian root, passion flower, and melatonin, ingredients for a natural insomnia remedy, on Quang's neck. The killer left residue from the ingredients of insomnia treatment on the victim when they checked his pulse. So the killer has insomnia. Well, I'm afraid they've got a few more sleepless nights ahead, Matthew. Well, Matthew, I know that we've had to put off looking for the Eye of Sparin, which we need to read the inscription on the Pilgrim's Ring. But at least we've gotten in at the Smithsonian as undercover FBI consultants through this investigation. Then again, we've also got a murder. Dan Quang appears to have been murdered with an Scarab amulet from ancient Egypt. Whoever killed him is feeling remorse. Maybe the curator who alerted us to the murder in the first place. Meanwhile, Quang's thesis advisor, Teresa Rosenthal, seemed very affected by the loss of her student. Then there's my real worry, Falcon. Him being here at all is superstitious if you ask me, especially since there's a supernatural element to the murder. Matthew, did you hear something? What's that sound? We're going to find out what that sound is in Chapter 2. Don't close your windows. Okay, we are back. Let's start Chapter 2 of Scarab to Death. We last left off with hearing this noise. That one is it. Arrgh. It's a mummy! Must speak with you. Okay. No problem, Mr. Mummy. Let's talk. Oh, that's a scary pic right there. So, Mr. Mummy, what do you need to tell us? I am Septa the Sixth, a pharaoh. Raven-haired boy, bad. Open sarcophagus, disturbed, eternal peace. Raven-haired boy? You mean the young man in blue who was in the storage facility, Dan Quang? He opened your sarcophagus here in the storage room? Yes, he deserved death for this. But did you kill Dan? No, but Dan deserved. Mr. Mummy, what's that piece of paper stuck to your shoulder rags? That boy, Dan, left it. Take it. Matthew, it's a receipt for a bar called the Fifth Amendment, and the table reservation was for Quang. Since the victim went to that bar, we need to check it out. Mr. Mummy, thanks for... Oh man, where did the mummy go? I hope he stays here at the museum. For now, we need to get to that bar. First star, and some additional points to boot. This bar sure has its theme down, huh, Matthew? Busts of old presidents and everything. Definitely a DC vibe. Anyway, good call. We should check that lost and found box for clues. The victim may have left something behind here. And I'm not sure what this torn page could be about, but if you think piecing it together could help the investigation, let's do it. Let's do it. Got it. Whoa, Matthew. The page you pieced back together is basically a diagram of Quang's death. Look, there's a Scarab amulet. It seems that anyone who touches it with their bare hands will meet Dan's fate. And there's a message in Hinky writing. Dan, stop this nonsense. It's not signed, but this message means that someone knew about the curse and probably used this information to kill Quang. We better get this page to Felix and see what he can tell us. And I need to get the lost and found out of the way. Hey Matthew, that Alcatraz security ball cap from the Lost and Found reminds me of someone. Let's check for a name tag. Look, this cap belongs to Reggie Pratt. You remember him, right? We first met him in San Francisco. But the last time we saw Reggie Pratt, he was selling occult items in Niagara Falls, like some kind of hustler. So what could he be doing in DC, at the same bar as the victim? We better find Reggie Pratt and have a little talk. I kind of doubt that Mummy is the killer. Mr. Pratt, we meet again. What brings you to DC? Any more occult wheeling and dealing in the works? Hardly. Just wanted to see our great nation's capital, and this bar got great reviews on Well, so I'm becoming a regular. Oh, good. Then you can tell us if you remember seeing a Highsmith University student here, name of Dan Quang. He was murdered earlier today. That's awful. I remember that Dan kid. He sure was riled up, carrying on about mummies and all that. Did he seem frightened? Did he want help? You know, we just kind of figured the kid had one too many cocktails, that the booze went to his head. Since I'd only had one IPA a few hours before, I ended up driving Dan to the place he was staying and dropped him off there. He was a mess. I'm sorry he got killed. I hope he can find who did it. I'm going to speed up the page a little later, so for now, this is Matthew. I'll see you soon. And we've returned. I'm going to speed up the page. That way then I can get caught up. Well, Matthew, the page you found is definitely a recipe for Quang's murder. And while the message doesn't seem to be a threat, it is proof that someone knew about the curse. And that particular someone left some dried droplets of IPA on the paper too. We know that the killer drinks IPA. And since the intended recipient was Dan Quang, it's safe to say the killer wrote this message. Were you able to learn anything about the killer from all this, Felix? Well, given the handwriting, with its backwards letters and general wobbliness, I can tell you that the killer exhibits dyslexia. So we have a killer with a developmental reading disorder, but it didn't stop them from understanding that ancient curse. And speaking of ancient stuff, we better get back to that museum storage room and have another look for clues. Got the first star. So what have you got, Matthew? That security camera could have a useful lead on it if you can unlock it. And this faded document has Quang's name on it. I'll grab your dozen kit so that we can see the rest. Matthew, that's the victim's thesis. It's called Traces of the Ancients in DC. And yeah, looks like his thesis was rejected. Ouch. Hey, that's right. The only person who could have rejected this thesis would be Teresa Rosenthal, the victim's advisor. We better go check in with Miss Rosenthal and ask her about shutting down the victim's thesis. Miss Rosenthal, why didn't you tell us that you had denied Dan Quang's thesis when we spoke earlier? Was there a problem? With his thesis? Most certainly. That young man was off his rocker. He honestly believed that an ancient Egyptian pharaoh had built a city where DC stands now before any other civilization. We were supposed to be working on Native American archaeology, and he brought me this silliness. I had plenty of sleepless nights over this, and finally decided that I no longer wished to be associated with his line of research. Did you argue about your decision with him at all? Well, Dan found it unfair, of course, but you must understand, I fought hard to get where I am today, a full professor despite my dyslexia. And if I signed off on that nonsense, I'd lose my tenure. It was all superstition and no science. I couldn't risk my career over his harebrained theories. I didn't even have to move my mouse. Great, Matthew. You managed to unlock that security camera. Now that Hope has left the team, I guess we'll send the camera to Felix. "12 hours. I'll see you guys when this is done. For now, this is Matthew. Catch you later." Okay, we are back. Let's get the results rather, the security camera. Hey Matthew, while I was looking through the footage, Hope replied to a text I'd sent her a couple of days ago. What does she say? Is she okay? She seems to be, but she says she's never coming back to the team. She's still really mad at the chief. Well, I can understand that. I mean, he did pull a gun on her, but maybe one day Hope and the chief will make amends. I hope so. Me too. Anyway, about that footage, the victim had a close encounter of ancient kind. Check it out. Give it back. Give what back? What are you talking about? Give back, or I kill you. I am so out of here. Arrgh! Man, the mummy directly threatened to kill the victim. But what did he want back? We better go talk to the old guy and get some answers. Mr. Mummy, we know you were upset with that young man Dan Quang was for waking you, but... Yes, hate, Dan. Right, but he also took something from you? Yes, amulet. The cursed Scarab amulet. Yes, Scarab amulet, cursed for protection, but will give me peace. So the Scarab amulet that killed the victim would help lay you back to rest? Yes, no Scarab amulet means I undead forever. Never fear, Mr. Mummy. We'll do all we can to restore your Scarab amulet to you. But first we need to solve Dan Quang's murder. Matthew, this investigation definitely has some unexpected elements, wouldn't you say? Dan Quang was killed by a cursed Scarab amulet from ancient Egypt. Not something we see every day, and we've seen a lot. While the mummy from the Smithsonian has the strongest motive, I doubt he'd know how to write in English. Reggie Pratt is down in DC from his last stop in Niagara Falls, but he helped the victim when Quang was in need. And what about Quang's thesis advisor? Rosenthal seemed really upset about his thesis on ancient Egyptians in DC. Need your help, y'all. There's trouble in town. The mummy escaped from the museum. We'll see you guys for Chapter 3, and hopefully we can get the mummy back. And we've returned. Let's start Scarab to Death, Chapter 3. Speaking of the mummy, there's a disturbance at the Fifth Amendment bar. What does that have to do with the mummy? Did he escape from the storage facility? Yep, Mr. Funk of 40,000 years is out on the town. The mummy's looking for his bling. Of course, the Scarab amulet. We can't let a mummy wander around town. We need to go get him back to the storage facility, Matthew. I know that it's the murder weapon and valuable evidence, but we should use the half of the Scarab amulet we have to lure the mummy back to the museum. I'll just grab a glove, Matthew, and then you, me, and Luke will head to that bar. Now, where's our ancient buddy gone? Amulet. Oh, there he is. Thank goodness you're here, Matthew. Is this some kind of a prank? Afraid not. Now stand back, Mr. Pratt. We need some space. Amulet. Septa the Sixth. I have your Scarab amulet, but if you want it, you must follow me. Yes, want. Okay then, your royal ancientness. Come along now. We'll follow. Want Scarab amulet. Want peace. Matthew, you and Luke should stick around the bar and continue with the investigation. I'll see you back at camp. That's a much better picture. Still don't see the Eye of Horus. Oh, there. I don't think I'm gonna get the first star though. I took too much time. Nope. Oh, what do you know? I did get it. Nice. So, Matthew, the lock screen wallpaper on this phone is the Scarab amulet. It must be Quang's phone. Let's unlock it. And what's an FBI notepad doing here? Let's have a little look inside. Whoa, looks like someone was taking notes about the victim. You'll need your dusting kit to see the rest. And what is this Egyptian-looking thing? An Eye of Horus? Man, Matthew, how do you know so much about, like, everything? Hey, there's something written on that tag, but it's not signed. It reads, "Protect yourself, Quang. A warning to the victim." You're right, Matthew. There's also some weird oily stuff on this tag. We should collect a sample. It could tell us who wrote the message. Oh, man. Oh gosh, I had to go through everything twice. Now that you've got a sample from that warning written to the victim, let's get it under the microscope, Matthew. Alright. Shaped like hearts. Protection oil. Matthew, that substance from the warning to the victim was an oil mixed with garlic, wolfsbane, and sage. I know those ingredients well. Garlic to protect from vampires, wolfsbane against werewolves, and sage for everything else. That's Falcon's protective oil mixture. He taught me how to make it my first day with him. So Falcon wrote that warning to the victim, telling him to protect himself. We better ask him for more details, Matthew. Let's see what Falcon has to say. Falcon, we found a warning you wrote to Dan Quang. You know, the boring university student you never had any contact with. Alright, you got me. I'm as bitter about this as the last IPA I drank. Or IPA. But I had to warn him. That kid had no idea what he'd unleashed opening that sarcophagus and taking that Scarab amulet. He had to protect himself and return that trinket to the mummy in order to protect us all. But he didn't. I resolved to take the kid out for the greater good if need be. Looks like the curse got to him first. And now I heard that the mummy got out of the museum looking for his Scarab amulet. He won't rest until he has it. The chief has got the mummy under control, Falcon. You should be more concerned about being a murder suspect. Look, Matthew, all of these notes are about a recent lunch Quang had at the Fifth Amendment. And the person who took the notes was Reggie Pratt. Why would he want to do that? And why is he working for the FBI all of a sudden? True, Matthew, he's not a total crook. He did help us discover that Roxanne had stolen her own Dampier's son's blood to strengthen the vampire coven. Maybe he's helping the FBI now. Only one way to find out. Let's go ask Pratt what this is all about. Hey guys, thanks so much for getting that mummy out of here. That just about scared the pants off me. I won't sleep a wink for a while, let me tell you. Even after all your dealings with the supernatural, you wouldn't be scared of a mummy, would you, Reggie? Especially now that you work with the FBI. Well, what are you talking about? Me with the FBI? They never take me, not with my dyslexia. Dyslexia didn't stop you from taking notes for them about Dan Quang. So what was the deal, Pratt? Was he a suspect or one of your marks? Oh, stop with that. You're right, I'm working for the FBI now. I'm not doing any more supernatural trading, I swear. I was just keeping an eye on Quang for an agent. The feds are convinced that this kid was connected to an antiquity smuggling ring. And was he? I don't know, I'm not an analyst. I just observed and reported. I never took any action against that kid, I swear. Okay, get to the phone now. Let's unlock it. Ran out of film time, but I got it. I got the phone unlocked. It's my amulet was the password. You got that phone unlocked, Matthew. We'll send it to Felix and see what he can find. Nine hours. I'll get the results tonight. So for now, this is Matthew. Catch you later. And we have returned. Let's get the results of the unlocked phone. Hey Matthew, you'll be happy to know that I had a little help with the phone you sent me. All that time rooming with Hope paid off. I took some notes on how to de-encrypt secret conversations and messaging apps. So what did you find in the victim's phone, Gwen? Well, some lady named Cleo was super angry at Dan Quang. Cleo Sinclair, the museum curator, that's the one. In the last message she sent him, she said she wished they had never met. That's a pretty stark contrast to the buddy picture she painted when we first spoke with her. We better ask Miss Sinclair why she wished she never met the victim. So, Miss Sinclair, we now know that you were pretty upset at Dan Quang. You even wished that you never met him. How did you find that out? We stopped hiding notes for each other in the storage facility and started using encrypted messages. As you might imagine, we feds have our ways. So what happened? Well, if you must know, that little jerk was just using me. That's what happened. We'd meet up at the Fifth Amendment because he knew I loved their IPA. Ever since Teresa Rosenthal told me about it. I confided in him about my insomnia. And he even pretended to care that I battle my dyslexia every day as a museum curator. I thought it was because he was into me, but no. He was just buttering me up because he wanted clearance to search in restricted archives. Now he's dead, and what I said in a moment of anger, well, I still feel that way. I wish I never met him. Matthew, this investigation is really something. Dan Quang was killed by a cursed Scarab amulet. He knew not to touch it with his bare hands, so the killer must have tricked him or forced him into holding it that way. The victim was using Cleo Sinclair to get clearance for special archives, so she was plenty ticked off at him. Quang also didn't heed Falcon's warning to protect himself, but it seems like the victim might have needed even more protection from Falcon. And there's still the problem of the mummy wanting his Scarab amulet back from Quang so that he could return to his eternal rest. You're right, Matthew. Finding the other half of the murder weapon is our best bet for finding the killer. Let's go back to the crime scene. Got it. Hey Matthew, that's a box of sleeping pills, and we know that the killer has insomnia. They probably dropped the box here. Let's collect that dust from the box and see if the killer left any evidence. And good call, Matthew. Maybe the missing half of the Scarab amulet is in that crate of archaeology materials. Time to rummage through it. We're on the right track to finding Dan Quang's killer, Matthew. I can feel it. There's the dust. You collected a dust sample from the killer's box of sleeping pills. Let's send it to Priya. I'm gonna get the rest of the stars at home. Oh, finally! It didn't even grant me the stuff. So the second half of the Scarab amulet was in that crate of archaeology stuff. Glad you're wearing gloves, Matthew. Now we've got to get it. Now we've got to get it to Priya. Nine hours. I'll see you guys when these two are finished. For now, this is Matthew. Catch you later. Okay, we have returned. Let's put a killer behind bars. Let's get the results of the dust. So, Mom, I have something to tell you about Xander and about me. Priya, who are you talking to? Oh, this is awkward. I was just trying to figure out how to tell my mom about, well, Xander and about being a werewolf. Yeah, but you're not here for that, are you? You want to know about that dust sample. Let me tell you, Matthew, that sample you sent was so much more than dust. In fact, it was a mixture of dust from the dig site, the dry contents of some of the pills, and some bits of hair. And I was able to isolate a hair and grab some DNA from it. I discovered that the killer has black eyes. Well, our black-eyed killer might be about to shed some tears. Matthew, I'm so happy that you were able to find the other half of the Scarab amulet. Yeah, not only will we be able to help lay the mummy to rest now, but maybe you can give us some information about Dan Quang's killer. I definitely can. The Scarab amulet half had bandage adhesive residue on it. Scarab amulet half had bandage adhesive residue on it. I know that the victim didn't have a bandage or any trace of one on his body, so it had to have come from the killer. But how could the killer have gotten bandage adhesive on the Scarab amulet and lived to run away? Well, remember how the killer warned the victim about touching the Scarab amulet barehanded? So the only possibility is that the killer handled a bandage with their gloves on. The adhesive transferred to the gloves and then to the Scarab amulet. Well, that bandaged killer made another boo-boo when they tricked or forced Quang to touch that Scarab amulet. And now we're gonna catch them. Matthew, we have all the proof we need to catch Dan Quang's killer. Time to lay this investigation to eternal rest. Bear with me, folks. I might be a little tired, plus I have a bit of a headache going. I was right. The archaeology professor it was. I went with my gut like Gibbs on NCIS. Teresa Rosenthal, we know that you killed Dan Quang with that cursed Scarab amulet. Oh, come on, guys. There's no such thing as ancient curses. Oh, yes, there are, and you know it. That's why you forced Dan to hold the Scarab amulet without his gloves on. No, that's not how it happened. So you admit that you killed Quang with the Scarab amulet. It was an accident. Well, sort of. See, I was really getting fed up with Dan's theories about ancient Egyptians in Washington, D.C. He was obsessed. He wouldn't shut up about that Scarab amulet. I tried to warn him. I told him to stop it with that nonsense and stop messing around with that artifact. But not because I believed that it would actually hurt him. It was superstition as far as I was concerned. Just a load of horse pucky. And so when he didn't listen to you about the Scarab amulet, I decided to prove to him that ancient curses aren't real. One day at the dig site, before he could get his gloves on, I yelled, "Here, catch!" and tossed the Scarab amulet to him, knowing he would instinctively try to catch it. I didn't think anything would happen, but now I am so happy I already had my gloves on for the dig. As soon as the Scarab amulet hit Dan's palm, his hand started to change color, then his arm. Some sort of otherworldly power surged through him. It was so strong the Scarab amulet broke in two. Dan was screaming as if his arm were on fire. But then he stopped, because whatever crept up his arm had reached his heart and he was dead. All to prove a point. You should have erred on the side of caution. There is more to life on this planet than meets the eye. Come with us, Miss Rosenthal. We need to deliver you to the authorities. Matthew, I can't believe it, but Quang's thesis advisor killed him with the cursed Scarab amulet just to prove her belief that the curse was fake. But now that we've handed her over to local authorities for processing, we can use that very same Scarab amulet to lay the mummy to rest. And let's not forget the reason we really came to DC. We need to find the Eye of Sparrow to decipher the inscription on the ring, so let's get to it. Keys to the Kingdom 4-5 will come after this. And we're back. We'll start the Keys to the Kingdom 4-5. So Matthew, now that we saw the murder of that archaeology student and made the Scarab amulet whole again, I guess we could put the mummy to rest. Not so fast. We still need to find the Eye of Sparrow to decipher the inscription on the Pilgrim's Ring and uncover the fifth key. I suggest we split up. Luke, the mummy already knows you and trusts you, so you can go speak with him. Just don't forget to put on some gloves before you touch that Scarab amulet. No problem. I'm ready to go read Mr. Mummy a bedtime story. See you in a bit, Matthew. Gwen, I want you to head over to the Smithsonian and wait for Matthew. Once you're both there, go speak with Cleo Sinclair. Oh, good call, Chief. Sinclair is a museum curator. She might know where we should look for that Eye of Sparrow. Exactly. And don't forget, Cleo believes we're working with the FBI, so stick to that story. You got it, Chief. I'll head over there after I tell Tilly where I'm going. Matthew, join me when you're ready to talk to Cleo. Let's talk to the mummy first. Mr. Mummy, check it out. We have your Scarab amulet. We can lay you to rest again. Yes, peace. That's right. Here's your bling. Have a nice eternity. Amulet. But also needs special drink. A special drink? You never mentioned that before. Special drink. 2 handfuls of barley, a royal spoonful of honey. Need drink. Okie dokie. Matthew, isn't barley and beer? Sometimes brewers put honey in it too. Maybe we can find the special drink at the Fifth Amendment. I believe this is the first I've seen it. Not sure really, I took a little break in between. Something hanging around my nose. Don't mind me. Because I was waiting for that coin thing to share. There we go. Funny the mummy needed his Scarab amulet, but he also needed beer. No wonder he came to the Fifth Amendment on his search for eternal rest. You're right, Matthew. That fridge probably has beer in it. Think you can unlock it so we can check? Wouldn't find me in a brewery, just so you know. Best beers, I think. Best beer 5. There it is. Matthew, the fridge is open and full of beer. Seems to be mostly the Fifth Amendment signature honey ale. But good point. We better send this beer to Priya to make sure that it has the right balance of ingredients. You again, Matthew, but the murder was solved. Miss Sinclair, we originally came to the Smithsonian for another reason. We're looking for a special magnifying glass. A magnifying glass? How is that special? We have a ton of those around here. This one could possibly have been used in some sort of occult activity. But we do have a supernatural and occult studies collection in the storage facility. You could look there. Excellent. We'll head to the storage area right away. Thank you, Miss Sinclair. That went a waste. Ugh. There we go. Nice catch, Matthew. The Eye of Sparran could be hiding in that archive box of supernatural items. Let's dig in and look. Got it. Antique magnifying glass. Awesome, Matthew. You found a pretty fancy looking magnifying glass in that box of occult stuff. So if we want to be sure it's the one we're looking for, we better get this magnifying glass to Felix. I sure hope it's the Eye of Sparran. And I'll see you guys when these two are done. See y'all soon. Okay, we are back. Let's get the results of the beer. Matthew, I have great news. You said that the draught the mummy needed contained 2 handfuls of barley and a royal spoonful of honey, right? Thus spake the mummy. How does that honey ale measure up? This beer has got the perfect balance, and it doesn't taste bad either. Well, I hope you save some of that ale for our ancient friend. Speaking of, let's go finish up this ritual of sorts and help Mr. Mummy go back to sleep. Mr. Mummy, we ran some tests on this beer and it meets the needs for your special drink. Drink plus Scarab amulet equals eternal peace. Yes, that's what you said before, and I sure hope we got it right. Must drink now. To eternity and beyond. But first, I give you reward. Thank you. Nice. Yo, Matthew, look who came to visit. Our old pal, Arthur. Hello again, Matthew. I am so happy to have good news for you. Felix and I tested the magnifying glass, and it works perfectly. Yeah, when we hold the ring under the magnifying glass, the different symbols light up. You found the Eye of Sparran. Exactly. The first 4 keys are part of the ring inscription. The scimitar, the manuscript, the sextant, and the tree core. We waited to check the last one until you got here, Matthew. Are you ready? It's, baby? What the? A baby is the 5th key? Arthur, we need to talk. Can you explain any of this? So, Arthur, what gives? The 5th key is a baby? Like a human baby? Well, if a human child was chosen to be the 5th key, they would be 25 years old now. But would this at least 25-year-old be a man, a woman, or what? And where would they be? I'm sorry, I don't know any more about that than you do. Well, that's just great. What are we going to do? We have to find this 25-year-old human key before the demons do. You're right, Matthew. Maybe we can go back to the storage room to find another clue. I agree, Matthew. Another pass at the museum's archives is worth trying. Keep your eyes open for anything archival starting from 1994. Will do, Arthur. But before we go to the storage facility, I really need to grab something to eat, Matthew. clue. Hey Matthew, the faded paper on that clipboard has 1994 written on it. Arthur said to look for something archival from that year. I'll grab your dusting kit so we can uncover the rest of the information on that paper. Alright. Got to deal with something real quick. Now let's get to the clipboard. But if there's anything I have, but if this is a clue to analyze, I'm going to be speeding that up for sure. I want to be over this already. So Matthew, that paper from 1994 was some kind of inventory. Wow, it was an inventory of items recovered during an archaeological dig in Salem, Massachusetts. But wait, 93 Tumbleweed Crescent, isn't that next to the Witch Museum where we solved the murder of Agnes Leak? It seems that there was an excavation before someone started building next to the museum. And that dig took place while the Pilgrim was still living in the mansion. And look who the lead on that excavation was, Teresa Rosenthal. I wonder if Rosenthal will remember anything about the Pilgrim, like maybe his name. We better go ask her. Miss Rosenthal, we have a few questions about an excavation you led in Salem, Massachusetts. Do you remember it? Of course. How could I forget? It was my first case as a lead, and it helped me get tenure. What do you want to know? Tenure. So, do you remember anything about the man who lived in the mansion next door to your site? Definitely. What a character that guy was. Kind of creepy. And there was that little baby with him, but no mother. I know it sounds judgmental, but I couldn't help but wonder how that oddball came to be a father. Do you remember his name? Yes, it was Bob Nelson. Bob Nelson, huh? Okay, I'll make a note. It sort of became a code we used in the archaeology department. When something didn't make sense, we'd call it a Bob Nelson. Fair enough. Do you remember anything about the baby? Like if it was a boy or a girl? Teresa Rosenthal, come with me. You're being transferred to FBI custody. They want you at their headquarters. What? Why? Above my pay grade, sweet cheeks, and yours too. If you had no idea about it. Come on, Rosenthal. What would they want with you at FBI headquarters, Miss Rosenthal? I guess I'm about to find out. Before I go, please, Matthew, take this money. I want to help in some way after all the damage I caused. So give me a sit rep, people. What do we know? Well, the mummy has been laid to rest. He just wanted his Scarab amulet and a beer. And how close are we to finding the fifth key? Hard to say, Chief, but we do know that the fifth key is a baby. Or it was. The key would be at least 25 now. Any idea of where we can find this 25-year-old? No, but Teresa Rosenthal told us that a strange man named Bob Nelson lived at the mansion that later became the Witch Museum in Salem. So the Pilgrim went by the name Bob Nelson. Boring and inconspicuous. Makes sense. Yeah, and the so-called Bob Nelson had a baby with him, which she thought was a little more than odd. So Rathimiel, also known as Bob Nelson, had the fifth key with him in Salem. I just hope Teresa Rosenthal's information is solid. Yo, Chief, we're going to have to go with what Rosenthal told us, because we're never going to be able to question her again. Never question her again? What do you mean? Teresa Rosenthal was found dead inside FBI headquarters. Rosenthal was found dead right after she gave us the name of the Pilgrim? That's no coincidence. We have to get to the FBI headquarters stat. Oh boy, we already know who our victim is. film time, but that's alright. That'll be released on April 2nd. I believe that's another Thursday. Five new ones. And another 5 new ones. 3 this time. 3. And that's it. Okay, that'll do. And I'll be seeing you guys on April 2nd. For now, this is Matthew. Thank you for watching.